Hello and welcome to Larindalandia. Today, I would like to talk about the difference between liking yourself and loving yourself. I think the most common type of love that we get and we see it's conditional love. So I think sometimes we might not understand the true meaning of loving ourselves. The true meaning of loving ourselves is not just about loving the things that we like about ourselves. It's actually more about loving the things that we dislike about ourselves. We have been so taught this conditional love that we forget that we are deserving of love as a whole, not just for parts. That's why I emphasize the difference between liking yourself and loving yourself, because the difference between liking yourself is you have some characteristics of yourself that you like. Maybe you are good at a certain task. Maybe you are skilled at something. Maybe you consider yourself physically beautiful. And those are the parts that you like about yourself. And maybe you have other parts of yourself that you dislike, maybe you feel insecure about. Maybe you are less knowledgeable in a certain area of life. Maybe there is a part of your body that you don't quite like. And I think sometimes we forget that unconditional love has no conditions. Unconditional love, it's about embracing all parts of you, especially the parts that you dislike about yourself. It is okay to have parts of yourself that you don't like that much, but still bring them love by accepting them, seeing them, hearing them, and supporting them. That's basically what unconditional love looks like. I think, again, we have been so trained to give ourselves conditional love. And this is really something that we pick up in childhood. Maybe our parents were not capable of loving us unconditionally. So we taught ourselves to not love ourselves unconditionally and only certain conditions. And what I mean by this is maybe as a kid, you were loved if you were a good child. You were loved if you followed rules. You were loved if you follow social convention. But the moment you step out of that zone of love, you are undeserving of love. And we taught ourselves that type of conditional love. So when we grow up and in adulthood, we might only love the parts that we like about ourselves, only love the quote unquote good parts. That these good parts are part of social convention, is a part of culture and the time that we are on. They are always changing. So really this has no this is just like basically human thought, right? And culture and society. These are not rules of nature, right? We are not born with this. It's just about social standards, right? But maybe we love the parts that are socially praised. Maybe you are skilled at something. Maybe you are smart at something. Maybe you have a part of your body that is considered beautiful or attractive. And those are the parts that you love. And we might neglect the parts that we don't like about ourselves, our insecure parts, the things that we are not as skilled in, the things that we are not knowledgeable about. And we try to shun them away and reject them. And that's a part of conditional love. You can still love the parts of you that you don't like. That's the difference between liking and loving. There can be parts of yourself that you don't particularly like, and that's totally normal. You're never gonna like everything about yourself, and that's totally okay, totally human, totally normal. Nothing to be shamed about. And this is not about changing yourself to like everything about yourself. No. But again, there is a difference between liking and loving. This is about bringing love. into the things that you don't like, because liking something is basically being comfortable in it, being proud in it, and being something that you want to show the world. But there are parts of yourself that you don't want to do that, and that's fine. But loving, it's about seeing yourself, accepting yourself, hearing yourself, and supporting yourself. Loving has nothing to do what you like or don't like about yourself. Loving is about being there as a caring friend for yourself in the things that you dislike the most, in the moments that you don't like to go through, in the things that you are insecure about. And those things that we usually reject and shun away because probably they are not acceptable by society, because probably they are not seen in society as a quote unquote good thing, right? Those are the very things that need the most love. Those are the very things that need to be seen, heard, accepted, and supported, because those are the most wounded parts of yourself. Those are the parts of yourself that probably were rejected when you were a kid, that probably were shunned away when you were a kid, and that wounds stay with you until adulthood. So in adulthood, I think it's very important to give ourselves the love that was not given to us. I think it's very important for us to be the person that we were looking for us to fully accept ourselves. Because again, accepting ourselves is not just about accepting the parts that we like, it's especially accepting the parts that we don't like about ourselves. And that's completely fine. We don't need to like everything about ourselves. It's completely valid. And I think even healthy to some degree to have some sort of self awareness. Of course, everything is balanced, right? It's not extremely one side or extremely other. Everything is a balance between liking and disliking. It's totally valid for you to say, yeah, I don't like this part of myself, but that doesn't mean that I love me any less. Quite the opposite. Actually, me owning up to the part that I dislike about myself, actually, me accepting is bringing love to it. And that is basically what unconditional love looks like. Unconditional love is not about you liking everything about yourself. Unconditional love is about you seeing everything about yourself, hearing everything about yourself, accepting everything about yourself, and supporting everything about yourself. And the way that we love the parts that we don't like is basically, yes, going to the parts that we usually reject, going to the parts of ourselves that we usually shun away, that we usually hide. And again, this is nothing that we don't need to show this to the outside world. This can be in our private world, and that's valid, and that's okay, and that's safe. And I think that is actually the true meaning of unconditional love. Because again, this is not about shifting the things that you dislike to like. This is about accepting the things that you don't like about yourself and loving those things. You don't need to like them. It's just about seeing yourself, hearing yourself, supporting yourself, and accepting yourself. So basically, it's going to our insecurities, the things that we are not most proud about, the things that we try to hide, the things that we try to reject, and sitting with it, feeling the emotions that comes with it. And while we feel these emotions, we see ourselves by understanding why we are going through these emotions, because usually this is a projection from the outside world. Because again, the things that we like and dislike about ourselves is usually social convention. So we were not born with this. It is something that was projected onto us, and we integrate it onto us in the sense to move and fit in with the society, saying, okay, probably the things that you like about yourself are the things that society accepts, and probably the things that you dislike about yourself are the things that society does not accept, right? So, loving the parts of yourself that you don't like is about seeing how this happened. It was about seeing the first time that you were projected this idea and expressing how it felt, expressing how it was like to be rejected for this part of yourself, expressing the pain, the shame. And again, you can do this in private. You don't need to show the world because, yeah, you don't need to like everything about yourself. It is super valid to dislike things about yourself. But again, it's about loving those parts, not about completely liking everything about yourself. So you can express this in, if you feel safe, of course, in private, expressing the pain. You can like journal about it, talk about it, paint about it, whatever ways you have of expression. And it's about when you are feeling those emotions that come with this projection of this is basically something not acceptable by society. This is what society thinks of it. And feeling the emotions that come with that projection, because liking and disliking honestly is projections from society where you were not born with this. And actually, if you really think about it, it's just like ideas set by society where like different cultures, these ideas will change. In different cultures it will change, in different times it will change. That's why beauty standards are always changing, because this is not really something that lives within us. We are not born with this is basically societal standards. So sitting with those emotions and feeling those emotions and basically asking yourself, how would I want someone to treat me in this moment, and being there for yourself in that way. Maybe you want some words of reassurance like, hey, it's okay if you don't, for example, don't like this part about your body. I still love you the way that you are. It's okay that you feel insecure about this or that, because I will still love you exactly the way you are. Because for me, you are lovable with all your quote unquote imperfections. Because I will be there for you with no conditions. Maybe you need some words of reassurance. Maybe you need some physical touch by giving yourself a hug. Maybe you need some rest, whatever it is for you. Being there as a supporting friend, being there as a supporting friend for yourself while you feel the pain, the shame, the guilt, whatever it is that this emotions of not liking certain parts of yourself bring. And this process, again, is not that you start liking everything about yourself. That's not the point. But you start being okay with the things that you don't like about yourself. You start saying, yeah, I'm insecure about this. I don't like this about myself. And that's fine, because at the end of the day, I'm still of myself. I'm still there for myself. I'm still there seeing myself, hearing myself, supporting myself. So it's really okay for me to have these insecurities, and it's really okay for me to not like parts of myself. That is really valid, right? And what happens here is that the more that you love the things that you don't like, you feel really comfortable in them. You are like, yeah, I don't like this about myself, like, and that's fine. I've come to terms with that. Doesn't bother me or creates this sort of like intense emotional reaction in me, because I love even the parts of me that I don't like, because my love is unconditional for myself. I don't need to like everything about myself. All I need is to love everything about myself. So you really reach a point where you feel comfortable in being like, hey, I don't like this about myself. And that's fine. It's not the end of the world, right? It's okay for me to have insecurities. It's okay for me to have things that I don't like about myself. But that doesn't change my view on myself. That doesn't change my worth. It doesn't change the love that I give to myself. I'm actually think that I'm quite valid and I'm quite worthy and I'm quite lovable because you are giving that to yourself. And I think this is a really powerful concept. And sometimes I think a very foreign concept. For example, in my life, when I show this to people, when I'm like very comfortably saying, hey, I'm insecure about this. For example, I'm insecure about the way that I speak. I'm insecure that I have an accent in English. I'm insecure that I stutter without words. I'm also insecure about my body image. Like, I'm insecure about my stomach. I'm insecure about my belly. I'm also insecure, like, okay, I don't know. I don't have anything right now, but usually I'm insecure about my things. And when I show this to people and when I say this to people, I usually get the reaction like, you shouldn't show that. You shouldn't say that. You shouldn't be so frontal about it. Like, you should be more confident. But I'm like, but I am confident. I am comfortable in this. Like, it's okay for me to be insecure about the way that I speak. It's okay for me to be insecure about having an accent. It's okay for me to be insecure about stuttering. It's okay for me to be insecure about my body. I don't need to be this perfect human being because that's quite impossible, right? And I'm not trying to be something that I'm not. I'm not trying to reach the impossible. I accept myself for who I am and I accept myself and love myself for everything that I am, even the things that I don't like. I think they give me a quirkiness. I think they give me uniqueness. So actually, I feel very comfortable in my insecurities in the sense that I know they make me me. And if I was perfect, I'll be like just like anyone else. And what will be the fun of that, right? And I get this a lot in work scenarios because I'm not very like the work culture where they tell you like you need to be super confident, you need to like sell yourself super high, you need to be the most like confident person in a room, and I personally, for me, that's not confidence. For me, confidence is being okay and being myself and not having to say, I'm like so great, I'm so smart in this, I'm so capable in that. And actually, for me, I get the, like red flags when somebody has to say all the things that they are good at because I don't want people to say to me the things that they are good at. I don't want people to say to me the things they are an expert on. I want you to show me. I'll see through your actions. You don't need to say something that you are. You simply are and you live by it. But kind of like in the work culture, you need to sell yourself to this like extreme measure. I personally am a more humble girl. Like, of course, I know I'm skilled. Of course, I know I'm intelligent. But I do that for my actions. I don't say, oh, I'm the most intelligent on the team. I'm the most skilled on the team. No, like I show my work for my work ethic, the things that I do. You get it, you get it, you don't get it, that's fine. And also, I don't mind saying when I'm wrong. I don't mind say where I have my flaws. I don't mind saying, yeah, like maybe like this was not as good. Like I'm gonna try to improve and grow and evolve, and that's fine. I don't take it to heart. But yeah, I think in society we really praise this. I really like myself. I like this super saying out loud all the things that you are good at, and you should be saying all the things that you are amazing. I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm saying that there should be more space to just be okay in not being perfect. There should be more space in being okay in being imperfect. There should be more space in being okay in being secure. Like, what's the issue? What's the big issue with being insecure? We all are. Like, what's the problem? We are imperfect. We're never gonna be perfect. We are not machines. We are not robots. We are not objects. We are imperfect, and it's a part of the beauty of it. It gives us like uniqueness. It gives us quirkiness. It gives us something to be singled out from, because I actually think the things that we are the most insecure about are the most probably endearing, relatable, vulnerable parts of ourselves. And that probably are the things that will allow us to connect with people, right? That people will look at us and feel connected and attracted to is actually the very things that we feel insecure about. That's because I think we are so taught to shun them away, and we are so taught to hide them. We do not allow ourselves to be fully vulnerable to people because this is so taught to us and so ingrained in the way that we socialize. And not only that we socialize with others, but we socialize with ourselves, that we don't allow for people to meet our most vulnerable and raw parts of ourselves, to meet our truest self. And I think when we shun away our insecurities, we are really depriving us from like deep human connection. And I think we are really, yeah, depriving us from connecting deeply with someone and being seen fully, being heard fully, because people can only hear us and see us when we hear and see ourselves. People can only meet ourselves to the extent that we met ourselves. People can only meet us to the extent that we met ourselves. So I think it's really empowering to love the things that you don't like about yourself. You don't need to change them. You don't need to like them. You don't need to improve them because there is nothing to improve. You are who you are, and that's already perfect as it is, even within imperfections. You don't need to be this 100% perfect human being in everything. That will be dehumanizing, and it will deprive you from vulnerability, rawness, and connection. I think it's a very beautiful thing to loving the things that you don't like about yourself and being okay with it and not trying to change them, being like, yeah, I'm insecure about this, but I love myself either ways, so that's fine. I don't need to be perfect. For example, in my case, like I don't need to train my speech. Probably will improve the more I speak English, right? But I don't need to change my speech, even though that some people not make fun of me, but they laugh at the way that I speak. And I have accepted that. I have accepted that's a part of my quirkiness, and I think it's actually quite endearing for a lot of people. And even my body image. Yes, I don't like my stomach and my belly, but I also understand like this is very social pressure, like of the social beauty standards that I mean. But at the same time that I don't like, for example, parts of my belly and my stomach, I know I am consider a very beautiful person, right? Even though that I don't quite see myself to that extent of beauty, I am not saying that I see myself as I know to a certain extent my beauty, right? But I think people see it in a way bigger way than I do myself. But like I'm okay in not having the perfect body. Like I don't need to have the perfect body. I have more than enough. I don't need more of that, right? And I don't mind being imperfect and showing my imperfections because at the end of the day, this is me. This is who I am at my core. I don't need to like everything about myself, and actually showing my insecurities and showing the things that I don't like myself. I think it allows people to connect with me, and I think it allows people to feel seen and vulnerable and truly deeply connected because I'm comfortable in what I don't like about myself. And those things, probably in the past, they will create in me a lot of intense emotions. Now they don't. Of course, again, it's not that I am secure about those things. They are still insecurities. They are still things that I don't like about myself, but they don't have as much of an emotional toll on me. Like those things don't stop me from doing things. My speech doesn't stop me from talking, even though I know it's not perfect. It does not stop me from talking right. My stomach does not stop me from showing it off. Again, even though that I know is not considered like society standard flat stomach, whatever, it does not stop me from showing it off. Because again, I might be insecure about some things, but that doesn't mean that I love them any less. Because loving yourself is accepting even the parts of yourself that you don't like. Let me know down in the comments if you resonate with this message. If you like this video, give it a like. And if you like this content, subscribe. Bye.